What's up, Knights of Vex, and welcome to the best 3v3 teams for Grand Arena month November, where today we will be talking about the best offensive teams, defensive teams, and a category that I call flex, where you can use them on both offense and defense. And this one's going to be a little bit different than last time because I want to cater a little bit more to rosters that are not just in high-end Kyber 1 or even just low-end Kyber 1, more spread out with Kyber 2, 3, possibly 4. So I'm going to create or include characters multiple times, but with this, I'm going to have their standard team, and then I'm going to have a combined super team, where if you feel like in Kyber 1, for example, you can't put down all these characters and they're going to waste, you can kind of create a super team to make them even stronger. But we're going to include both. We're going to start with the defensive teams, but before we do, guys, if you do enjoy this type of content, don't forget to hit that sub button. Helps out the channel so much. I appreciate all the support, guys, and it really means a lot to me. So let's get into the defensive teams and see what we can do. So starting out with the best defensive teams, guys, you have to start with the brand new Epic Confrontation character, and that is Balin's Skull. I am really fortunate enough to be able to unlock him. This is the first character I really went hard on, and I hope it was worth the investment. I applied all 3 Omicrons, and I even applied the Omicron on Shin for Territory War. So very excited for this team. We don't have much data about it. I know there's some data mines with certain characters being able to perform well and not perform well, but I highly recommend you throw them on defense for the first week and seeing how it goes from there. But I think for the most part, this will be a staple for defense for 3v3 if you have him. Going to be very tough to get through, especially if you have the exclusive level 9 Datacron and all the good mercenary level 6s. So Balin will be on defense this season. Next up, guys, without a doubt, no-brainer, probably the best team in the game right now with the current Datacron, and that is Great Mothers. Now, the typical lineup is going to be Great Mothers, Morgan Elsbeth, and Night Sister Spirit, but if you do have Death Trooper Peridia, Relict, and Geared, and you don't have an Enoch team up to snuff, you might want to combine Death Trooper Peridia with Great Mothers. Could make it a little bit more challenging with the AoE hitting really hard, but if you want to split the team up, guys, might as well just put Spirit and put Peridia with Captain Enoch. But if you don't have Enoch fully geared, you can make a super team. So that's why I'm including both on that list. Then the next up, Rey will always, in my opinion, be an absolute monster on defense for Grand Arena. She's so underappreciated. I think she's so strong. And with the new unaligned Force user set, the level 6, the Rorty one, going to be really strong with this team. So I have 3 unaligned Force users. Jedi Training Rey makes regular Rey, such an annoyance on defense because of all that evasion, applying daze and ability block and all that evasion. Really strong character. She can get to a point where she can't be touched if she increases her mastery. Her evasion just goes through the roof. It's actually crazy. I do think this is going to be really strong on defense this season. Then next up, guys, we have Jabba, and Jabba is always a pain. Really strong. He's going to be even tougher this set with a tenacity stat being introduced. If you have a high tenacity Chrysanthemum, or just if you have your Chrysanthemum modded for tenacity and then you throw another 100% tenacity on a Datacron, really strong, guys. Even the potency on Leia, landing those thermals even more. Really good set for Jabba. Absolute stable this season. Now for here, guys, this is what the super team I was talking about. And it's combining Kylo with Malagos and crew. It's a full unaligned Force user team with the Malagos level 9. This could be very strong, guys. You get all the good stats because they're all unaligned Force users. This does make a super team. If you guys are willing to combine both of them, this is going to be really strong. So if you guys can, swing it, this will be a strong team on defense. But if you don't want to do it, you can easily split them up. And that brings us to our next team, guys. That's going to be Reva Inquisitors. Grand Inquisitor has a phenomenal Datacron this set. The level 9 is just so strong. I think it's going to shut down a lot of previous counters. I know it will shut down Malgus because you can no longer fear the team. So I don't think Malgus will be performing well against Reva this set. We have to see if Bane will be fine. We have to do some testing. But I do think for the first week, Reva will be really strong on defense. And I highly recommend if you have Grand Inquisitor Crom, throw that on there on defense. And that brings us to our next team. Saw Gerrera with Kyle Katarn and Luthen Rail. And I only have 1 Omicron on this team. The team used to run the support Cron. That Cron is put away for now. So we are going to run the Saw or the Luthen level 9, which enhances the Saw team. going to be very tough. You cannot underestimate it. They're very, very strong. They're going to get that explosive traps popped immediately, and Kyle Katarn's going to be hitting pretty hard. So this will also be a very good staple for defense this season. Which brings us to our next team, and that's Queen Amidala. And without the support Kron, just like the previous team, they're not going to be hitting as hard, but they do have a Master Qui-Gon level 9 where he's going to be throwing Protection Disruption, and they do have stats on that Datacron that have defense. So if you have a very high defense Kron for Queen Amidala with the Master Qui-Gon 9, you're going to be in really good shape. I think they're going to be very good on defense for the rest of the Grand Arena going forward, but especially this set, I would throw them on defense. And this, guys, this might be a little controversial, but I think Jar Jar could stay on defense again this season. I personally have a ton of trouble with Gungans in 5v5. In 3v3, we typically have an answer with the Traya team, but I kind of want to split up my Traya team a little bit with the new Starkiller Datacron. I'm hoping that a regular Traya Nihilus Scion can get it done, but for the most part, I think Gungans are a very annoying defensive team. That's why I'm throwing them in there. I've seen reports of them possibly beating Balin on offense, so this could change. We have to see how the testing goes for that first week, but I think for preliminary, throw them on defense. They're very, very annoying. Which brings us to our next team, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. They do have a very good level 9 guys with Moff Gideon. They could be pretty good on offense, but I think their defense is going to be stronger in 3v3 than 5v5. They just have the Imperial Remnant 6. There's a ton of versatility with them. I think they're going to be strong no matter what you do. I'm personally going to be putting them on defense for the first half, and that could change throughout the season, but I do think for the first, defense is where they're going to stay. And then these guys, I can't stress enough how you can't underestimate Tuskens, guys. I know that they might not seem like a top meta team, but in 3v3, if you have that Omicron on Tusken Raider, they are so ridiculous and annoying, guys. You have to bring in a strong team. There's no mid team that could take out Tuskens. Like, Traya is not a mid team. Traya I find to be a S tier team in Grand Arena. If you have to use Traya on Tuskens, that's a win for your opponent. But pretty much, Tuskens require a good team like that. If you have them relicked and geared, and you have the Tusken Raider Omicron, throw that on defense. It's going to be very, very strong. Next up, we have Zori with the Resistance. Both Finns, Resistance Hero Finn, which is the character that you want to mod fast for this. Going to be really good. They have a debuff damage level 3, which works for this team pretty well because they're constantly doing stuns and expose. Very strong defensive team. You do have to bring a very strong meta team to take care of them, like an Afra, which is a legendary character, or even Starkiller. Gotta be really, really smart when playing against Resistance. I think they're going to be very strong on defense. And then, guys, this has been pretty much a staple for a while. Double Rex clones with 5s. Another team you just can't underestimate. My typical counter for this is the Qui-Gon Jinn team, and it's not the best banners. You're going to be losing a character. These guys are annoying. You cannot underestimate them. They require very specific counters to work, so I will be putting Rexes on defense. Next up, guys, we have Keller and Beck with Ethkoff and Master Yoda. Now, I know this Kron was nerfed, but I still think they're going to be strong. I do typically like to split the Jedi up where I put Qui-Gon Jinn with Cam and Anakin, and then I put my remainder with Keller and Beck. So, in this situation, Ethkoff is technically a tank with the Kron. You could throw in Mace Windu instead of Yoda if you really want to. I think Yoda will be pretty strong with all the Foresight synergies, getting all those buffs. Constantly taking turns, stunning them if you have the stun level 6. I'll be putting this on defense this season. Going to be strong. Then, guys, Trench. Trench is not going to be as strong as the previous set, but instead of Dooku, you could throw in Django if you have a Mercenary level 6. But I do typically think this is the best Trench team in 3v3. But if you guys roll that Django level 9, or you have that Mercenary level 6, throw in Django in there. But for the most part, this is going to be your typical Trench team. And guys, this one's going to be iffy because I have no idea with the testing, but that Karth level 9 seems really OP. I really hope it makes a difference. I really hope it makes them strong. I'm personally not going to invest any gear or relic into them because I need to get Galactic Legend Ahsoka, and I'm running really low on the materials. But if you have these guys relicked up, I do recommend throwing them on defense. They could be really strong with the damage over times and all the offense that Karth is getting. This seems pretty strong, so if you have it relicked, have it geared, throw it on defense, see if you can trip up your opponent. And then guys, this one is going to be a little bit different. I want to find use for Dengar in 3v3. I haven't pulled his level 9 yet. I think he's going to be way stronger in 5v5. But I can see this being hard for people to take out because he's going to be taking so many turns, constantly healing Bosk with the thermals if he's taking a turn every other turn after your opponent. Just going to be constantly getting those cooldowns, healing your team, applying those thermals, getting that tenacity down. With a combination of the Zam Omicron, this could be pretty annoying defensively. May not have a ton of damage output, but trying to get rid of them with all that protection healing could be pretty decent. So I'm going to recommend trying to throw this on defense if you have the Dengar level 9. And that leads us to our last defensive team, in my opinion, and that's going to be the Shorty Droids with T3M4 and BB8. This one I only recommend if you have the spare parts level 9. You can even throw in General Grievous if you don't want to split up your... If you feel like splitting up your Separatist team, just to get a little bit of a damage dealer. But if you don't feel like splitting it up, guys, keep it as is. They're going to be pretty strong. BB-8's going to be taunting. They're just going to be doing a ton of damage, be very, very annoying, and I think they're going to be strong for defense. But this is going to wrap up the staples for defense, in my opinion, for this season. We're going to now move on to the offensive teams. Moving on to offense, guys, I have Kylo as my first GL, and this one is going to be the standard Kylo team with Hux and First Order Stormtrooper. We do have an unaligned Force user level 6 this set, so Kylo will receive benefits. But this is typically your one that your standard lineup for Kylo that you can use. But I think he's going to be good on offense because he has so much versatility. He can take out so many teams, guys. He's so strong. I typically like using him on offense, but maybe a couple matches this season I'll throw him on defense with that super team. So, and then the next Kylo variation, this is the Leia killer. Leia is a very strong GL. You want to use this team when facing her. Getting those 3 stacks of Beskar on Kylo is just a game changer for that matchup. He solos the team. And then the Brood Alpha is just there as a tank. I typically like keeping these combinations together for Kylo. But moving on, we have Sith Eternal Emperor, and I personally like to use him as a solo machine. He's very good at taking out Gas solo, or even some other mid teams or Jedi. Sith Eternal Emperor, I think, is very, very strong for offense, and that's where I'm going to use him this season. And then obviously, guys, you can't deny Bane. Bane will always be a staple this season. I'm hoping he can take out Reva Inquisitors with the Grand Inquisitor level 9. Gonna have to test that out my first week, but no brainer, always gonna be a staple for offense. And then guys, Afra I think is gonna be pretty good on offense this season because of the potency stat in the Datacron rolls. Afra has a ton of abilities based on her max potency. The more potency she has, the more she's gonna do. They're gonna be pretty strong this season. I hope they can take out Jabba. We're gonna have to see. I have doubts, but you never know. Then next up, guys, this is going to be my typical Star Killer variation. There's going to be a ton of others that we can come up with this season, but this is going to be your typical one with Mara Jade and Star Killer. If you guys have the Star Killer Kron, absolutely use it. If you have the Mara Jade Kron, you don't have Star Killer, use that one. Hopefully they can take out Rey. Star Killer is going to be doing a ton of damage with his Datacron. This is the typical Star Killer team. If you guys have it, 100% use it. And then guys, Wampa. I throw in Wampa in there just in case you're in the lower ends of Kyber and there's possible teams you can solo. I personally have not had any use with Wampa in a very long time, but I'm throwing him in this list because he does have its use, and I know a lot of players invest in him, so I threw him on the list just in case they throw in teams that can be soloed. Next up, guys, we have Bo-Katan Mandalore, and I think she has way better use on offense than defense. She has really good synergy against Lord Vader. I don't know how it's going to be with the Darth Maul level 9 because of the revive. We're going to have to test that out. But there are a ton of other teams that Bo can take out. Hopefully they can take out Inquisitors as well. But we're going to have to find this all out. I'll be using Bo on offense this season. And then this, guys, this is a little bit different. I'm trying to find more use for Pow in the 3v3. So I did a kind of a split that you guys are going to see in the flex category. I'm putting Mon Mothma with Pow level 9 and Cassian. And I think Cassian's going to be good because of his ability block and the exposes and the buff immunity. It's very, very good debuffs to apply on an enemy team. And with Pow attacking out of turn, Pow's going to be your damage dealer because he's dealing massive damage. You don't have to really worry about having a damage dealer on the team. Pow is your damage dealer for attacking out of turn. So that's how I'm going to split up the team. And then, guys, the last team that I'm putting on offense is going to be the Night Sisters, and that's going to be with Talzin, Marin, and Oldaka. And I call this the Jabba Killer or the Jabba 2-shot. This is the typical team you run when you do it. I do not have the Marin Omicron, so I don't really typically use it. But if I'm ever stuck on a Jabba, I could typically kill the sides with this and then try to go for a cleanup. But this should be able to take out a ton of other teams, guys, in other areas of Kyber. But I think they'll be pretty much better on offense than defense this season. And that leaves us to our final category, and that's going to be the flex one, where you can, guys, use the team on either offense and defense. So let's get right into it. So, guys, starting this flex category, I'm putting Kenobi with Plo in as the first on this list because they're going to have use both on offense and defense. Very strong defensive team, and as of right now, the only answer we have to Great Mothers is going to be Kenobi because we no longer have the SLKR, Attacker Kron. So if your opponent has Great Mothers, you don't want to get stuck on that team, guys. Bring Kenobi on offense. If they don't, you feel like sticking a hard defensive team on defense, throwing Kenobi on defense, you're going to get quite a bit of holds. And then that leaves Lord Vader. So I think Lord Vader is going to have actually more viability on defense this season because of the Underlined Force User Kron and the Maul Revive. So that's why I'm putting Lord Vader in the flex instead of just the pure offense. The defensive capability with Maul's Revive can shut down counters. I hope it can shut down Bo. I'm going to be swapping back and forth during the rounds to see what's working and what doesn't. I typically like using Lord Vader against Jabba, so I'm going to really have to debate on what I'm going to do. But as far as you guys, this team is going to be very good going forward. And if you're going to throw them on defense, I like throwing in Thrawn because this will shut down the Fennec counter. You do not want your GL taken out by a non-GL like that. Highly recommend this team. Next up, guys, we're putting Drogon back with Leia. We do not have the Sabine level 9 anymore, so we're going to keep the team intact. Leia has its use on both offense and defense. I personally like to use Leia in the mirror match. I know how to play it perfectly where I can one-shot their Drogon after the first or two turns. But Leia has its use on both offense and defense. You just have to find a way with what you're going to use for different certain counters. But wherever you put Leia, you're going to be absolutely fine. And then for flex, guys, I do have JML in the flex because they do have a Datacron this set for Jedi, and it could be typically strong. They also have an Old Republic one. I know JML can be easily countered by Inquisitors, but you're going to be seeing a lot of Inquisitors on defense. So I think JML will perform pretty well on offense and defense this season, putting him in the flex category. And then this, guys, I have Seer next, and I put these extra characters here because it all depends on the Datacron that you roll, guys, because if you put just Seer, Cal, and Malicos on defense, and Malicos has his level 9 and he's taunting, or even if you put Malicos with crew and then you have the level 9, you're going to get killed by Padme and Moff Gideon and Shaak Ti. If they put crew in there, you're going to time out, but no matter what, Malicos is going to go down. It's going to be an easy cleanup. I think you need to put the damage immunity level 6 to shut that counter down prematurely, because if they don't have the turn order right, Malicos isn't going to go down. So it's really dependent on what you do. If you're going to go on defense, I recommend Seer, Malicos, and crew. If you're going to go on offense, I recommend Seer, Cal, and then Malicos, with the level 9, of course. That's what I recommend for this team. And then, guys, Gas is in a weird spot this season because I do like splitting up the clones. And I know there was a combination with Ethkoff level 9, but that was nerfed, and I don't think it's as strong. No matter what, I think this is your best chance for Gas in the leftover. It could take out a ton of teams. It's General Skywalker, Echo, and ARC Trooper. Sometimes I use it to take out Tuskens. Might not be worth, might be overkill, but this is typically my Tusken killer. This is how I'm going to use Gas this season. Then the next is CLS, guys, and CLS is always a pretty strong team. You can't take it lightly. They get so much turn meter, and I have lost this team a bunch in previous, seasons. They're very strong both on offense and defense. I've been able to take out Starkiller with this team. I don't know how it's going to be this season. Might have to try it out once or twice, but this is a typical Starkiller counter if you have enough tenacity. But I think no matter what, this team's going to find its use on both offense and defense. Then, guys, we have the Dash team with Han and Chewie, and with the Mercenary tag and all of the synergy with the level 6, this could be pretty strong, guys. Dash might make an appearance again on defense. I don't know about Kyber 1, but maybe in the Kyber 2 or 3 range, Dash can definitely see its use, so highly recommend this team. Also, we have Grievous with Stap and B1. You could throw in Magna Guard as a tank, but I think that this is pretty strong with the AoEs, gaining all that turn meter with the target lock. This team will be pretty strong, so highly recommend on offense or defense. And then guys, this I have Qui-Gon Jinn with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jedi Knight Anakin. I like using this specifically for mirror matches or taking out the clones with double Rex. They're a very strong team. They have a very good Datacron with the stun, level 6. Really, really strong team. Highly recommend using this season. And then guys, I threw this in there in case you have Maul but you don't have Lord Vader unlocked, or you feel like splitting them up. Maul has his revive, and then you have both Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando. This could be pretty strong, so if you feel like using this, splitting up your Lord Vader, definitely figure it out. I think it'll be pretty strong. Guys, I'm putting 2 variations of Traya here. I have Traya with Nihilus and Savage. This is a very strong team defensively and offensively. I think I want to try different variations with Savage and Starkiller, but like I said, if you guys want to make this, combined super team, this is pretty strong. And then the one below this is a Gungan killer. I don't know if this will be considered overkill this season, but I used this a ton last 3v3 season, and I never had an issue taking out Gungan. So I'm going to play around with it for the first week. I might be swapping my strategies, but these 2 teams are going to be strong, no matter how you do it. And then guys, here, I probably should have added Malik here. There is a tank revive level 3, so just pretend Malik is here. But it's going to be Malik, Malgus, Darth Revan. You could put Bastila, but I do think Malik is better as a second tank. They're going to be strong on both offense and defense. I don't think Cal is going to be able to take them out if they have a tank revive level 3, so that shuts down that counter. Malgus is going to require a very strong team to take out, so no matter where you put him, it's going to have its use. Then this guy's here, I have Radis with Jin and K2SO, and I underestimated this team highly in 5v5. I actually got stuck on it on my alt account because K2SO is constantly gaining taunt. Removing 50% turn meter from your team is such a strong stat, guys. It's just cannot underestimate this team. I couldn't get bounty hunters to work. We're gonna have to see how it works in 3v3. Really strong team no matter where you use them. This is a duplicate, guys. This is not supposed to be here, but pretty much they're supposed to be just on the offensive list. But I do have Bastila with Cal and Jolie because you could face an opponent where they don't have the Malgus level or tank revive level 3, and they have an Old Republic on this set, guys. And if you're constantly calling Cal to assist with Bastila and Jolie, and you have the level 6 where you're increasing their stats, Cal's going to be hitting pretty hard. All that ramping offense and damage, going to be really, really strong, guys. So this will be coming back this season. Only use it if your opponent does not have the tank revive level 3. I don't think Cal has enough to get through him, but going to be strong regardless. And the last team for the flex, guys, is Captain Enoch. I'm actually 1 shard away. Hopefully I can get it before GAC lock. And it's going to be Enoch, Night Trooper, and Death Trooper Peridia. This is splitting up the team so that you don't put Death Trooper Peridia with Great Mothers, but they do have a level 9, and they do have a level 6 for Imperial Remnant. I do think they can take out a bunch of strong teams, and they do have defensive viability. So if you guys have them relicked up and geared up, you're going to find its use this season. But that is going to wrap up the list, guys, for the best 3v3 teams for the month of November. This list is obviously my opinion. I'm very interested in your thoughts. You gotta leave them down below and let me know what you think. But all of this is going to change throughout the season, guys. There's so many undiscovered teams and tricks that we're going to find out. I'm so excited for 3v3 Grand Arena. It's been a while, and I hope that we can get some really cool wins, face some good opponents, and it's going to be a fun season. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel to become a Knight of X. And I'll see you guys in the first round of Grand Arena. May the Force be with you all.